everyone. Welcome to Marketing Bitcoin for the Masses. We've got three amazing people on the panels. We've got an app, a handbook, and apparel. But you wanted to be introduced to something else, though, didn't you? No, I didn't. No, okay, fine. So, Bitcoiners don't really like being preached to. They want a signal over noise. So it's really difficult to actually market Bitcoin in a way that's suitable, would you say? So I just would like to see a show of hands. Who came to Bitcoin through social media and YouTube? How about introduced by a friend? Did anyone get totally wrecked on something that wasn't Bitcoin? Okay, great. So we have actually got the perfect audience for everybody. So would you like to start by introducing yourself, Brian?
Yeah, thank you, Susie. My name is Brian Dement. I am the head of marketing for Orange Pill app. We're an app that's specifically focused on connecting Bitcoiners in real life. So you can see from the conference that in-person connections are important. We crave it. We go out of our way to find it. And we built an app that makes it happen even when you're at home. Most people don't realize there's a Bitcoiner in their neighborhood, and we help you connect with that person.
Hey everyone, my name is Anil Patel. I'm the author of the Bitcoin Handbook. It's now in 10 languages. I'm an angel investor in about a dozen Bitcoin-related startups, and currently working on a book about Michael Saylor. Should be out later this year.
Hi everybody, my name is Neil Jacobs. I'm co-founder of FOMO21, a Bitcoin merchandise and apparel company. I also do marketing for companies in the Bitcoin space and promoting conferences like this one.
So authenticity is important. How do you make sure when you're reaching people that you're truly authentic?
I think it's important that we share from our experience and the ups and downs. The gentleman in the first row that raised his hand that got burned by a crypto scam is actually the founder of Orange Pill app. So it's one of those things that's really easy to say that, oh, I've been Bitcoin only. I've been a Bitcoin maxi since the early days. I myself in 2016 went through a crypto phase as well. And I think
we all have, don't we?
We all have. Or I think that's one of the blessings of the people kind of coming around to Bitcoin in 2025 is that there's a lot of people that just go straight to Bitcoin maxi. But for those that have been in the industry for a while, perhaps we kind of went through that phase and just sharing that, hey, I'm not holier than thou. I don't know anything like intuitively more than you, other than the fact that perhaps I have some experience, and my experience comes from me doing things out of ignorance, or perhaps I didn't think them through. Here's the 10 years of experience and study and pain and the glass that I've crawled over to get to this point. You're welcome to go through that, but let me just at least share my path. And that usually tends to lend a bit of credibility because nobody wants to go out of their way to fake being self-deprecating. And so self-deprecation just invites probably more questions. And that's one of the things that we typically don't get in Bitcoin is we go the opposite. We give it to everybody like a fire hose, right? Like, hey, let me tell you about Bitcoin, and let me tell you about immutability and scarcity, all these different things. Nope, they never ask more questions. But when we leave a little bit on there and we talk down about ourselves, and here's the natural progression that I went through, you tend to get more questions that way. And so authenticity, I think, is really, really important.
Yeah, I'd just echo what Brian said. I mean, there's a lot of companies that are pivoting to Bitcoin right now. And if authenticity means being yourself, my message to those companies would be, please, for the love of God, do not be yourself. Bitcoin changes you. You got to do the work first, see where you are at the end of that. Once you understand Bitcoin at a technical level, at a cultural level, at a historical level, maybe then you can actually make products and services for Bitcoiners and earn their trust and respect.
Yeah, so I would say authenticity is so important in Bitcoin. Most of us got here because we felt like we couldn't trust the current system. So there's this natural gravitation towards trust in Bitcoin in general. And with marketing, if you don't have trust, as soon as you break that trust, you lose someone forever. They're never going to trust you with your brand. So authenticity, trust are the most important things.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with regards to community engagement, what strategies have you found the most effective in building and maintaining a strong Bitcoin community over multiple cycles? Because you've all been in this space for quite a long time.
All right, I'll go first. When it comes to building community, I would say you really need to meet people where they are. Everyone's coming from this from a different angle, right? Whether you're in, Kenya or a Wall Street hedge fund trader, you have a different perspective. So how you build that community is different depending on your audience. So you really just have to meet people where they are. And a lot of us have been in the Bitcoin world for a long time, and it just comes natural to us now. But we were all at zero at one point. We all knew nothing about Bitcoin. So we have to realize, that's where everyone's starting from.
Yeah. Building community is important, but make sure you're building the right community. And I think a great way to do that is to build something useful, like actually go out and create something, because that'll get you through the depressing bear markets, because you'll be so focused on something completely detached from Bitcoin's price. And that's where you meet other, high caliber people that I've gotten to meet through doing just that.
I own a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym in Southern California. Shout out to Mission Jiu-Jitsu. And the reason why I bring that up is because at the end of every kids practice, we have the kids line up, you bow out, you go, oos, and it's this opportunity that the line of kids comes by and they shake the professor's hand. And the rule is for the kids is that they have to shake our hands properly and they have to look us in the eye. And the reason why we teach the kids this is because I think it's a fundamental building block of social connection. Like, we can be friends with people on Twitter, and I've built friendships with people that come here and they're like, hey, Brian, how's it going? Hey, Tim, how's it going? Hey, Ryan, how's it going? Right? And so we innately kind of know that online is cool and there's a use case for it, but in real life is kind of the final boss of human connection. And so again, that's like why Matteo built an app for connecting Bitcoiners socially, is because at the end of the day, being able to shake somebody's hand and look them in the eye, it does something that I can't do with a tweet.
Yeah. But it takes effort, though, doesn't it, to actually meet people in person? And I think everyone's become a little bit lazy, really. But it really does make a difference. I've noticed that as well.
Yeah, and don't shake Brian's hand, because he will literally just flip you down onto the mat.
I will try to break your wrist. That's the.
So you obviously have Bitcoin education for newbies, where you have to, like you say, you can't bombard them with, we've all been there, we've all done it, but also for seasoned Bitcoiners as well. So you've got to tailor your education so that it can fit both audiences. How do you manage that, Anil?
I just keep it really simple. We've all been to that meetup or presentation where someone throws a slide up with 17 bullet points and a diagram of how the Federal Reserve operates. And it's just like, you get one bullet point, you get one message. If you're in the elevator with someone, like, figure out what your message is and just hammer that one thing. Because it's a very vast, canon of directions you can go. So yeah, just figure out your one message, simplify, simplify, simplify.
Yeah, it goes back to what I said before. You really have to know where people are in their journey, and that elevator pitch, find out what that person does, right? What their career is, and then relate it to their career, and why their inflation is hurting their business, right? Maybe that's what affects them. So you really need to target things well. You see people like Michael Saylor, they come up with great analogies and metaphors to hit any audience. And just in marketing in general, if you could explain something at its first principles, like you would to somebody, a 10-year-old, if you could break it down to that level, that's when you really connect with somebody.
But you use humor, don't you? I mean, your stuff's funny.
Well, yeah, thank you. When it comes to Bitcoin merch and apparel, we have all different T-shirts, and they spark conversations. I'm wearing one right now. It says, "There is no second best." If you're in the Bitcoin world for any extended period of time, you obviously know what that is. But what's great about that is, I'm just walking around anywhere and someone might not know, and they're like, well, they might just think I'm full of myself, right? There is no second best, and I'm just talking about myself. But then there's other shirts we have that are like, oh, what does that mean? And then that catapults their Bitcoin journey potentially. Someone who never even, watched a YouTube video. So it's pretty cool being a part of that.
I mean, it's funny you opened this up by saying, and I'm not going to say anything all too much different than what these gentlemen have said, but you opened up saying that we shouldn't be preaching about Bitcoin. And while I agree, I think it's also ironic that I wrote a book called Bitcoin Evangelism, which comes off, it sounds preachy.
I don't think I said exactly that, but
I know. I'm just trying to make myself feel worse. But the reason why I named the book that, and it's what these gentlemen are saying, is how do you evangelize? How do you share something? And it's not a religious book. I'm a religious guy, but that's not the tone of it. It's, if you look at successful movements of history, the church certainly being probably the most prevalent movement in human history, right? Spread to every corner of the world. How did it get there? Well, they had a really buttoned up answer for two groups of people. The atheist, they spread the religion to people who didn't believe in a God, and then they spread the religion to the pagan, people who believed in a higher power, but perhaps another God. And I think we're kind of dealing with that same thing in the Bitcoin space. And here's what I mean by that. You have the atheist no-coiner who doesn't believe in digital money at all. And then, excuse my French at a conference, but we have the pagan altcoiner who believes in crypto, but they believe in something entirely different. So I think it's like, how do you answer the question for somebody who is entirely skeptical of the space? And how do you orange pill people who are in crypto, but I think crypto people are like me, the Bitcoiners of tomorrow. And so having a buttoned up answer for several groups of people and where people are at, meeting them where they're at. And again, Sales 101 is to ask questions. If you can ask the person questions, it allows you to funnel down what answer they need. Are they a gold bug right now? Well, great. Let me talk about 21 million in digital scarcity. Are they a freedom maximalist? Well, great. Let me talk about censorship resistance. I don't need to talk about all the other stuff because I can focus on the thing, like Neil said, that matters to them.
Yeah, whatever the topic, Neil has a T-shirt for it.
But that's what we try
So
to
if
do.
you don't feel comfortable about it, just get the T-shirt. If you don't feel comfortable saying it, the shirt will say it for you.
We even have a T-shirt that says introverted but willing to discuss Bitcoin. So if you don't like to talk, we have that T-shirt.
that's really good. Yeah. I don't think I need that T-shirt. What approaches? You actually mentioned skepticism. So how do you address skepticism? Because so many people have been burnt by crypto scams, and then, for example, the collapse of FTX, then people start blaming Bitcoin. There's so many barriers that we've got where we have to address all of these misconceptions, and it does create very skeptical people. So how do you address that?
Yeah, so this isn't like the best answer to that question, but I generally don't try to anymore. I'm not as evangelical about trying to convince people because there's so many people now that want to learn about Bitcoin that are new to this space that I tend to channel my energy towards people who want to learn. If someone is skeptical about Bitcoin, I really need to love them to want to try to convince them. I think American Hodl once said this: if someone's trying to orange pill you, make you understand Bitcoin, they're saying, I love you. And that, for me, that's where it has to come by because, again, there's so many people who want to learn and that, they might not have an understanding, but, want to learn about Bitcoin. It just makes more sense. There's more ROI to go after those people than try to convince, the curmudgeon who will take forever to, change their mind at this point. Now, that was different 5 years ago. You really still had to be that evangelical about it. I think it's less now. More power to you if you want to do that. I just find for me, I'm trying to go after the positive energy out there now.
Yeah. It's good to know you love me, man. I really appreciate that. I would suggest that people who've been burnt by crypto or a scam or a blow up, don't try to be their therapist. Don't try to be their financial bankruptcy consultant. They have to go through their own healing process. They have to deal with their own pain. And when they're ready to find you, they will find you. So just be available.
Yeah, and I think you have to speak in plain language, and you have to speak in a way that appeals. What's the simplest way I can make a point to somebody who's skeptical? So what is their skepticism? So one of the skepticisms I encounter a lot is from like older family members. They say, you know what, I could just never trust my money to an algorithm. Like that concept is crazy. And I say, you trust your something far more important than your money to an algorithm every single day. Like, when was the last time you drove through an intersection with everybody in your family in the car, and you drove through the intersection 50 miles an hour, and you didn't think twice, but an algorithm just kept your family safe? Because when north and southbound have a green light, east and westbound have a red light, and you didn't even think twice. That's what we call trustlessness, right? You don't even have to trust in it because the algorithm just is. And so I can use fancy words like algorithm and trustlessness, but I'm saying it in a very like fifth grade level for them to understand. So any chance you can get to simplify something for the skeptic, and maybe I know there's like the skeptic you don't know, but then I think we all have those skeptical family members where you do take the time because, like Neil said, we love them. And so instead of being afraid of that conversation, just try to think of what won you over, but simplify it. Just go into ChatGPT and ask it to simplify your argument like you're talking to a 10-year-old. I mean, that would be a perfectly fine strategy to use.
Yeah, I've got family members that definitely don't want to talk to me about Bitcoin, and I don't talk to them anymore at all.
I guess you don't love them that much then. No, I'm just kidding.
So can you share the hard lessons or early mistakes that you've made that have shaped how you now approach marketing and education? Anil?
Or Susie, this one's going to kill me. About 11 years ago, I stood up in front of my MBA class and I presented to them how to buy Bitcoin. Not that they should, but just the steps they would take if they wished to. Price was $587 at the time. To date, 4 out of 60-ish that I know of own any amount of Bitcoin. And they're wonderful people. Very smart, very kind. I love them to death. But it was a good wake-up call that spending 10 years trying to work on these people, like Neil said, out of love, was the wrong approach. And it made me understand that adoption comes in waves. Different groups adopt Bitcoin when it meets their own risk tolerance. And, you know, this cycle, we're maybe seeing more of that managerial professional class, governments, nation states, pension funds, traditional finance. So, yeah, you got to align the timing with your audience.
Yeah, I think it's very easy, and I've made this mistake repeatedly, and it's very easy to fall into it again, is that we talk to people as if they know, right? Bitcoin is on T-shirts now. It's being talked about on Fox News. And so it's really easy to speak past what people's perception of Bitcoin is. I mean, even at a conference like this, we could walk around and say, you know, we could talk about the nature of Bitcoin, and it would be really easy to try and for me to share about Orange Pill app, and that person just hasn't even bought their first Bitcoin yet. So when I got backstage with Anil, the first thing he did was start to ask me questions and start to dive in, and it seemed like he cares about you, right? He does, because these guys love each other. And it's the most effective thing we can do in marketing is get back to the interpersonal connection. Our panel is about how to market and advertise in Bitcoin. Well, it's easy to just think in terms of billboards and the latest viral tweet, but what do people need? And that is something that my team reminds me of constantly. It's like, how are we talking to people on an individual level? Because I tend to talk to the macro, and that's not where people live. That's not where people exist. I need to think about the micro, and that's a recurring theme in my failures of marketing.
Yeah, so I would say, my background is actually as a CPA, accounting. So I knew nothing about marketing. And I came to Bitcoin because my friends didn't want to talk to me about Bitcoin. Like, I found social media to try to preach that to other people. And what I've learned over the years is like what you said, you need to reach those other people, what works for them. In terms of other mistakes in marketing, you don't be afraid to try things and do it over and over and over again. I was a perfectionist about marketing at first. Like, what am I tweeting out? What am I posting here? And it's just throw as much things against the wall as long as you're authentic and your true self. Like, who cares? Most people, they're going to scroll down, they're going to go past it. It's just about getting that message out over and over and over again. They say in sales, most people have to see like an advertisement like 7 times. And in this digital age, it's probably like north of like 10 times. So you just have to like keep putting a message out, be truthful about it because it'll make it easier. Like, don't lie, don't be inauthentic. And, you'll get the results you want.
So, Neil, this one's for you, just you, actually.
Okay.
How does FOMO 21 leverage fashion to spark conversations about Bitcoin?
Yeah, I guess we, touched on this before,
Yeah.
right? You're just walking around. I already, the guy that's walking right here is wearing one of our shirts right now. How's it going? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we timed that perfectly, actually. See, it says this is the best cult ever. So, right, we're making fun of ourselves, sort of. You couldn't ask for better timing. So it's really, getting messages out there to the masses, starting conversations. People have a lot of misconceptions about Bitcoin. I was on a plane wearing a Bitcoin shirt, and some woman said, "Oh, isn't that a Trump thing?" And it was on a plane in Canada, so you could figure like most people over there weren't like big fans. So then I like went into it in more detail, and I don't know if I orange pilled her in that moment, but it opened her eyes to new things. So that's really what our company does.
It's perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
Brian, how does the Orange Pill app facilitate real-world conversations?
Well, it's actually pretty easy because it's a social network. We don't fancy ourselves as social media. So if you want to scroll endlessly, feel free to go to TikTok or go to whatever, YouTube, that's fine. The whole point for Orange Pill app is to get people in the app to make a connection and then get off the app. We don't sell your information to advertisers or anything like that. That's not how our business model works. Our end goal is the user's end goal, the member's end goal as well, is to connect with another Bitcoiner. And so we're the largest repository in the world of Bitcoin-only events. So it's really easy to go to meetup.com and go to a Bitcoin event only to find it's a Web3 pitch or something like that. And so to have such a system of so many Bitcoin-only events is a powerful arrow in the quiver that we have. But again, like I said, the ability to open an app and find people that are 15 miles away from you, 20 miles away from you, that you could go and have coffee with right now, you get to recreate the magic of a conference like this. And we've had people that have gotten hired at companies. I found my barber through the app. I found a plumber. We've hired an attorney through the app. It's real people. And so when we're connecting, when we have a tool that allows you to connect with other real people, it just tends to morph into or materialize in real life connections. But then one of the coolest things we did about 3 months ago is we have a native wallet and a new function we added that doesn't exist in any wallet anywhere else in the world. It's called geo-zapping. So I can send out a zap to everybody at this conference right now, or everybody in Las Vegas, to their wallet and say, hey, come to the Genesis stage right now. We're talking about marketing in Bitcoin. Oh, by the way, here's 21 sats, right? And so the easiest way to make a connection or to say hello to somebody is with a Bitcoin transaction.
Yeah, we paid people to be here.
Yeah, that's right. I should have done that. I don't know why I didn't do it. As I'm talking, you're like, that's a great idea. Matteo, can you hurry up? I think we only got a few minutes left to zap everybody. But the easiest way to say hello is by literally putting your money where your mouth is. Hello, I'm a real person. I just transacted with Bitcoin with you. Let's meet up. Let's have some coffee.
Anil, so what inspired you to write the Bitcoin Handbook, and what impact do you think it's had on Bitcoin education?
There's a good C.S. Lewis quote where he says something to the effect of, the books I wanted to read didn't exist, so I had to make them. And, I know you're shocked, but I'm not actually C.S. Lewis. There was just a gap in the market, and as Bitcoin grows and expands, more and more niches open up. And I found I kept teaching the same material at, conferences. I was sending friends the same stuff, and I just accumulated enough stuff where a publisher said, hey, let's make a book. And I was skeptical at first because I don't have business writing a book, let alone being on a stage with a microphone. But I also realized that there are very smart, successful people out there who don't go on Twitter. They don't listen to podcasts, and they only read books. So again, it's just translate content across different mediums. And maybe back to what Neil was saying, throw a lot of things out there and see what sticks. So yeah, that's...
So we've got a minute and a half left. So in one sentence, can you tell me what the key message is that you want the masses to understand about Bitcoin? Go on, Neil.
It will help free you from a lot of the problems you have today.
It's amazing. Yeah, it will. Yeah, Bitcoin fixes this. Yeah.
One sentence. Yeah.
One sentence.
Not all, but a lot of the problems.
I would say don't feel dumb. If you are feeling dumb, that is a good thing. You are on the correct path. Keep going.
I'm going to speak heresy right now to close this out. Without people, Bitcoin is literally just zeros and ones.
Do you think that would confuse people, though, as a response?
That's the hope.
Okay. All right. Brilliant. Well, they have been an amazing panel. This has been absolutely fascinating. I've absolutely loved it. So a massive round of applause. Thank you so much.